Hey, hello everyone.
Hello.
Happy Sunday out there.
Thank you for joining us on Sunday. you know,
Yes, we like to keep you on your toes with the
yes.
days of the week. No, I mean the truth is that I have a slightly busy life and Carly has an insanely busy life. And she is flying off to all sorts of different things all the time. So sometimes we have to shift the schedule. Otherwise, we can't both be here. But I'm sure all of you would much rather me do this with Carly, especially those of you who've heard the times that I've gone solo. It's definitely much better with her here.
Yes, I
So,
appreciate it. And you know what? We're talking about attractions. We have to go do attractions. So that's
yep.
gets in the
It's
way.
the problem being a travel writer is you have to travel. So before we jump into the show, let's give some shout outs to the
Yeah.
folks in the comments. Brian,
Hey, Brian.
cannot wait for Fantasmic's reopening date reveal. You and me both. We are definitely going to chat about Fantasmic. But that's the one thing we won't talk about is, I guess, the official opening date because we don't have it yet.
I don't
But
know.
yeah, we will stick around to the end of the show. We will definitely get there. Michael is back. Hello,
Hey,
Michael. Good to
Michael.
see you again. Michael's singing the Fantasmic theme. Happy Sunday to you, Michael. Thanks for being here. We've got Blossom and Terry in Derek's corner. Hello. The Fun Brothers are saying hi.
Ooh, we love fun.
And Brian is out there. And yes, Brian, I agree. This has been a rough week. We lost Angela Lansbury and Robbie Coltrane. And and if you're a Dodgers fan, it's yes, also a very rough week. Yeah, we're here to get you through the pain with a little attractions talk. And yes, hello, John. Thanks for saying hi. Saying hi right back to you. We got a dozen odd people in the chat, so I think we might as well just jump right into the show
Perfect.
in
Let's do it.
3, 2.
Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding.
Welcome to the Attractions Podcast. You are all clear for dispatch. Have fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 161 of the Attractions Podcast, sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. I'm Seth,
And I'm Carly.
and we're here again to talk to you about the latest and greatest in theme park news and more, as well as what's going on in our own lives. And Carly, how have you been this week? What have you been up to?
I have been excellent because I visited Carowinds for my first ever time, and I got to do Scarowinds. Oh,
Oh,
it's been on my
so
list.
so we've talked about it on the show. What was it like being there?
Okay, so I brought my husband, who usually goes with me to the haunt events because he loves them.
Hmm.
No joke, it was one of my favorites of the season of haunt
Wow.
events.
And you've
I,
you've done all the biggies.
I've done all the biggies. Yeah, and it was incredible. It also has my favorite house of the season.
Really? All right,
Yeah.
tell us about it.
So it's called Slaughterhouse. So it was reminding me of something from Hollow Scream last year when
Okay.
you're going through and you have the like pig heads are on people and the knives and it's
Uh-huh.
very gory. This was incredible. You started going through almost like I don't know what the word is, but like cow stables.
Oh,
That
like
was the
yeah,
cue.
like a Temple Grandin kind of
Yes, yes.
shoots that they use
Uh,
for livestock.
it was
Okay.
so well done.
Mm.
There's only 5 houses, so it's definitely smaller scale,
Mhm.
but it feels a little bit more attainable. The scare zones were amazing,
Mm.
and Adam, who never gets scared, said, "This was the first time I've ever been scared at a haunt
Wow.
event." He said there was something it wasn't even the scare actors, because they do less of jumping out at you and
Mhm.
more of going through the house. So
Interesting. Okay.
yes. So you're not able to predict, when you're going to get a jump scare or whatnot. Like they were literally coming at you, going through the house. And it was interesting because there's also less scare actors in the houses, but
Hmm.
maybe that's what made it a little bit freakier to me
Hmm.
almost because they were very well done itself, the sets. But it was incredible. I highly suggest going. We did the fright. like the fright lane, which you can, cut ahead of the
Hmm.
line, and it's so well managed. We didn't wait at all. I mean, it didn't even feel that busy. We waited in some houses, like in just the normal queue when we got there. Wasn't bad. It's a very well run event. They space out the people too. So highly recommend if you can come here. This was one of my favorites.
That's fantastic. All right, I'm adding that to my Halloween bucket list for sure.
Yes. It's
Um,
it's funny because I'm writing a story like today about, Not Scary Farm because it's
mm,
49 years old. We think of Halloween events as like Halloween Horror Nights as the only, the top of the top. There are so many other great events out there
mhm.
that you need to it's the same way as the Disney bubble works. People
If
refuse to believe that other parks exist besides Disney. Get out there, go to some of the other ones because this year, Knott's and Carowinds, Chef's Kiss, my
I,
favorite.
Horror Nights is great. I'm
Mhm.
I'm a
Love it.
veteran fan and former employee. In fact, this week I just got to go to Blumfest at Universal, and we got a great Q&A session with Mike Aiello and Charles
Mhm.
Gray about design of Halloween Horror Nights. I love the work that they do. I have full respect for all the artistry that goes into Halloween Horror Nights, but it's not the only game in town. If you want to read some of my spicier thoughts about it this year, go over to orlandoweekly.com for my column this past week. But yeah, don't judge a haunted event just on the number of haunted mazes that it has. It's quality over quantity, and uh, scares don't need to have big expensive special effects. For
I
me, it's all about the
agree,
human
yes.
touch.
Mhm.
It's all about how much freedom you give your actors, and how treating your actors like your scare actors like they are performers and artists, and not just like human animatronics that just pop up and say boo over and over.
Absolutely. These Carowin actors are not timed to a music where they have to come out
Hmm.
during a certain line. So, these events, I guess you would classify as less polished, but maybe
Hmm.
that's what makes it scarier.
Yeah.
It feels a
Yeah,
little bit
I
more
mean,
real.
hey, if you grew up like me doing backyard haunted houses that the
Mhm.
neighbors put on in the backyard or in their garage, to me that's the essence of a good haunted house is the personal touch, and seeing the fingerprints on it. But that sounds like a great event. I would love to check that out
Yes.
sometime. For me, I got to go to
Oh,
that Blumfest event,
amazing.
where we got to see the Black Phone, and talk to a couple of the young actors from that.
Finn, right?
Phenomenal performances. I mean, that's more than a horror movie. I would classify that as like a psychological
Psychological.
drama, and there's
Yep.
some really really great acting going on in there. I liked I liked the haunted house at Universal even better now that I understand what was
Yes.
going on.
Okay, so people were like, "Why is Blumhouse your favorite at both coasts?" And I said, "Because I watched The Black Phone
Hmm.
right before attending both events.
Yep,
It changes you because it's so well done." You know?
absolutely, absolutely, and we also got to see Halloween Ends, uh,
Oh,
and
ooh.
I will say, as someone who has seen, I think, every single all 17 Halloween movies, and the series has had its ups and downs.
Mhm.
I did not hate this finale. Some people really hate this
Yes.
last film. Um, I did not. It did not give me what I expected, which I appreciate, and I am still thinking about it a couple days later. So to me, it didn't just go right out of my head a lot the way a lot of films do. It is a lot. It is a lot. It is a strange film in the same way almost that like Halloween 3 is strange in that it does not give you anything of what you expect from a Michael Myers Halloween movie until the very end. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, and I will let everyone else debate it on social media
Did
because
you
I don't want to step into that.
did you go through stages where you hated it or you never hated
I
it? Just, like,
I I
curious.
was fascinated the whole time. I was like, these are really weird choices that they're making, and there were a couple times where I just laughed out loud at kind of the absurdity, but I wasn't pushed back from it. I was leaning in. So, but my highlights of my week, I would say, were I got to go to Epcot and do the behind the scenes tour at the
Yes.
land, which has returned I say it is just as good as it ever was. The one thing that I loved from the old version that I got to do, did not get to do this time, was the releasing of the ladybugs. That was not part of the tour I did today, but we did get to eat a cucumber that had just been harvested from the greenhouse that day, and we got to feed the fish in the the
That's cool.
aquaponics tanks,
Yeah.
and that was amazing. I highly recommend. There is no better value tour at
Yes.
Disney because
It's
it's
cheap.
an hour
Yeah.
tour, and if you're an annual pass holder, it's less than $30. If you're
Right.
not an annual pass holder, it's like 35 something. Any other tour costs 3-4 times that much at Disney. And it's really unique. If you're at all interested in gardening or the environment, sign up for it. Absolutely.
Right, and I think even beyond that, you're going behind the scenes on an attraction.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Legendary
Even if you're
attraction.
you don't care about botany
Right.
and greenhouses, but you just want to be able to walk backstage and you always drift past the culture lab at the very end of where
Yes.
you see the scientists in there making the little mini Mickey gardens. Well, you get to go around the backside and see the backside of water, or I guess the backside of land.
Yes.
So yeah, I highly recommend the behind the scenes tour, and on the unofficialguides.com I'm going to have a whole detailed full walkthrough video and an article on that, so check that out. And the last thing that I got to do this week was yesterday at Give Kids the World. There was a special fundraising event. The Disneyana National Fan Club World Chapter had the premiere of a film, a new Peter Pan film, Peter Pan and His Magical Neverland, that featured narration by Margaret Kerry, who was the original model for Tinkerbell in Peter Pan. And Jim Korkis, the Disney historian, was there. The director of the film was there, and it was a fundraiser for Give Kids the World, which is an amazing place. They've reopened. They were closed for a while after COVID. But they are back, and it was really great to see the good work that they are doing there. So we have both had crazy busy weeks then. But just because we've been busy, the rest of the theme park world has also been busy.
Yes.
And that means it is time for us to jump into the news in the queue. Okay, we are starting out at the Disneyland Resort, where MagicBand Plus is going to debut on October 26th. And if you are a Magic Key holder or cast member or DVC member, you can be the first starting on October 19th to purchase MagicBand Plus at Disneyland.
Yes, this is a long time coming. As everyone knows, they never got MagicBand. They never got MagicBand 2.0. We're going right to MagicBand Plus. I'm not sure if I will be purchasing one. I still haven't gotten my Walt Disney World one yet, but you can use them at both coasts. We have confirmed that you can, as long as you have it linked into both apps.
That is good to know, because I was not looking forward to having to purchase yet another one of those, even though there are they're new collectible colors, and they've got 5 prints out there that are exclusive to Disneyland Resort. And they've also got a special one for Magic Key holders that's got its own unique light. That's sort of tempting, considering I'm a Magic Key holder, at least for the time being.
Right.
Little tempting. But yeah, so if you're already familiar, we've talked a lot about MagicBand Plus when it came here in Walt Disney World. A lot of the same things that you can do here in Disney World, you're going to be able to do at Disneyland when they open up the new World of Color show and the new Wondrous Journeys fireworks at Disneyland. Those are both going to sync up with the bands like they do with the nighttime spectaculars in Florida.
So there will be haptic vibrations.
Haptic vibrations, which means your wrist is going to buzz. And honestly, like, between my cell phone buzzing in my pocket all the time and this thing buzzing on my wrist, I start to develop these phantom vibrations.
Oh,
like,
no.
you ever like have this thing where you like feel your phone buzzing and you're not even holding your phone? Yeah. So this is just going to make that even better. You're also going to be able to go into Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland and play the Star Wars Batuu Bounty Hunters interactive game. And we actually have an article on our website all about that that you can watch.
The interesting thing about Disneyland's version is, I believe, or as of at least the last release they announced it, it doesn't work getting into your room or charging folio privileges. So you still have to use the Disneyland app.
Yes. Yeah, it's interesting because the Disneyland app allows you to tap into your room
Yep.
using
Mhm.
RFID or Bluetooth on your phone. Same technologies in the MagicBand, but yeah, they have not announced that as a feature. So that's kind of curious. Yeah, I think until we stress test it and figure out exactly what works and what doesn't, some of the details are still slightly vague. But I will hopefully be able to get to test that out on my next trip out there and make sure that you can use it on both coasts and they're not just going to double dip and make me buy another one.
Right. I mean, I'm wondering if you're gonna have to log it out of log it out of the Disney World app and then put it
Ye-
into Disneyland. So I'm
Yeah,
still
and
figuring that out.
normally Magic Bands, once they're attached to a specific ticket number, they are attached to only that ticket number.
Right.
Though I don't know, you can upgrade upgrade to an annual pass and still keep it attached. So there's all sorts of loopholes. It's one of those things that we'll have to wait until it comes out in
Days. Yeah.
just days
Mhm.
for annual pass holders or Magic Key holders. So I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty of reports really soon about that. Um, if you are interested in purchasing one yourself, starting October 26th, you're going to be able to get them at Downtown Disney District at the World of Disney or Pin Traders, inside Disneyland Park at the Emporium, Pioneer Mercantile, Tomorrowland Landing, Disney California Adventure Park at Elias and Company, Trolley Treats, Oswald, or Seaside Souvenirs, and inside the gift shops of the resort hotels. Make sure you've bringing a USB wall wart with you because
Yes.
these things usually do not come charged, and they have a USB adapter, but not the thing that actually plugs into the wall. So if you have one for your cell phone, you can use the same thing. But honestly, if you've got a whole family, these things need to get charged pretty much every night. They advise that you manually turn it off afterwards because I've noticed that if I just leave mine off the charger for a couple days, it dies, even if I'm not using it.
So basically, a family should just bring like a power strip.
Yeah, exactly. You need to bring a power
No,
strip
no,
on
literally,
your
like,
vacation. Yeah, absolutely.
well, because also,
Don't bring a power strip on a cruise ship, though.
no,
Learned that the hard way.
you have kids' iPads, you have your
Yeah.
Apple Watch.
No, I mean
There's a lot of things,
everyone's now got 3 or 4 devices that they've
right?
got to charge every night. So, yeah, so keep that in mind because and set aside time to connect these up. It takes a few minutes to pair them with your app, and usually they have to have a firmware update. It's not instant.
Yeah.
Now we haven't heard anything about whether they are going to now switch to an RFID based system for things like lightning lanes for people who don't have the Magic Band. Right now, like lightning lanes, if you're using with a smartphone app, it's scanning a barcode as opposed to
Right.
using a tap to pay type system at Disneyland. So that'll probably continue to be sort of a hybrid between the two systems for a while. Who knows? Maybe eventually they'll go to a completely, tap system like Disney World has. But it looks like for the time being, if you're not going to invest in Magic Bands, you can still scan the barcode on your phone or use a regular ticket. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to that point, I have seen photos, as I'm sure you've all seen, of them installing the tap stations at
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
entrance, but I don't think I've seen any at attraction
Hmm.
to do
Yep.
that. So we'll
Yep.
see. This is going to be time will tell.
It's going to be a work in progress. And I'm really curious to see, people at Disney World, they seem to adopt magic bands, especially since they were initially free, pretty readily. It seems wild now to think that when they first came out, they were actually like they were talking in Congress. Like this was like national news was like,
Mhm.
is this so too invasive for Disney to ask people to wear a wristband? And now like people there are plenty of people who've voluntarily put a chip under their skin for
Oh,
Disney. It would
if it was
no
easy.
question,
Yeah, just
scan my face, take my DNA, whatever, no big deal. So the idea that like a wristband was like really, really controversial, like just a decade or less
right.
ago is kind of funny. Well, so we'll see how people in California adapt to it. Checking to see see in the comments, Brian says he has his Apple Watch and his phone, so he's good.
Yeah.
He doesn't need yet another one. Um,
Yeah. I mean, my thoughts are always gonna be the same. To me, this is not a magic band, this is an interactive play band. So,
yeah.
you're not getting this for the functions of tapping into the park because we have that already. But if you are interested in all the bells and whistles,
Hmm.
your whole family doesn't need it, get one for the kids, 2, whatever,
One.
1. But yeah, I mean, this is,
And
it's something entirely different.
And I'll say, I think this kind of interactive thing is welcome at certain parks in Walt Disney World, like Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios, where there are a very few number of actual rides,
Mhm.
and anything you can do to pad the number of experiences, they're great. Disneyland's got plenty to do. You just
Yeah.
easily spend a day at Disneyland and never run out of things to do. So maybe on the really busy days, this will help, you know, give something else that you can do that doesn't involve waiting in a line. But let's see what the lines are like at the bounty board for the Batu Bounty
Right.
Hunter game. We'll see if people are waiting 20, 30 minutes just to sign up for one of these quests, then it's defeating the purpose. So,
Correct.
all right, moving on to our next story. At Disneyland, there's even more holiday magic this season, and we have some more details about the holiday events that are happening from November 11th through January 8th.
Oh, it's my favorite time of the year at Disneyland. It is so because the
Hmm.
park is already so beautiful and magical, but now once they add all the decor and the snow, and then we found out that there is going to be a 2.5-hour guided walking tour, so you can learn all different facts about the Disneyland holiday season. Which I can't even imagine. Like, I want to learn how many lights there are, how much gallons of snow they go through.
Absolutely. Yeah, we talked a little about the return of guided tours at Disneyland last week, and this is the longest one that they're offering right now. And it will include a look at the It's a Small World holiday. So that ride gets really long lines during the season, so it'll be great to skip the line for that. And you also get a reserve viewing for the Christmas Fantasy Daytime Parade. Which is, you got to love those marching toy soldiers
Yes.
and the goofy reindeer with the big tongues.
Yes.
Um, th- Disney Festival of Holidays is also going over at Disney California Adventure again, and this celebrates not only Christmas but also Navidad, Hanukkah, Diwali, Kwanzaa, and Three Kings Day. A lot of really great ethnic food and music. I am a fan of Mostly Kosher, which is
Yes.
kind of a modern klezmer band that they have that performs. And the Fat Cat Swingers are also great. They've had those guys out for various special events, and they're like a swing band. They're a lot of fun.
Yes. I mean, what I love about if a lot of people are used to maybe Epcot's Festival of the Holidays. At Disneyland, it is very entertainment driven. There is
Hmm.
so much live music, which I mean, it should be. You're in Southern California and the music
Hmm.
scene is incredible. That's my favorite part. The food is, kind of hit or miss with their festival food, but it's the entertainment that is worth visiting.
Yes, yes. The headliner new entertainment for DCA is Tina and the Sounds of Celebration, and they give holiday tunes a Latino flair. And then there's also going to be Mickey's Happy Holidays, which is a character celebration And you're also going to see the holiday toy drummers. That's kind of a variation on the Green Army Men drummers that they have going to be
Yes.
out and about.
And
So
if you're
yeah,
watching this, you probably see that Mickey and Minnie look a little different. I think they have new costumes
yes,
this year. So it's going to be like kind of a vintage Christmas flair is what they're
yes,
going for.
absolutely. Yeah, they got some new duds, kind of a retro look. And in addition to that character celebration, they are going to bring back the World of Color Seasons of Light show at California Adventure. Also, that, as we mentioned before, the Christmas of Fantasy Parade and Believe in Holiday Magic fireworks are back as well. And it looks like those magic bands that we were talking about are going to sync up with those holiday shows as well as the regular shows.
Yes. And Believe in Holiday Magic doesn't happen every night like Disney World. So just know it's limited mostly to the weekends. So that's something to consider when you're visiting.
Yeah, Disneyland has really been cutting back on
Yeah.
weekday fireworks, partially in consideration for the neighbors,
Mhm.
but it's also budgets.
Right.
Um, so yeah, if you want to see the fireworks, they do projection shows on the nights when
Mhm.
there's no fireworks. But if you want to see those fireworks, make sure you check your schedule in advance. And yeah, as we mentioned over at Disneyland, Mickey and Minnie have brand new duds that are super classic, kind of mid-century classic red and green colors. Mickey's got a sweater and a scarf and a Santa hat. And so these throwback costumes, you're going to be able to meet up with them uh, in Town Square at Disneyland Park. And if you want to meet Santa himself, he's going to be in Critter Country, in the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail, and also in the hotels.
He's going to be all over.
Yep. How can he be so many places at once? Magic.
Magic.
We mentioned the holiday food can be a little hit or miss sometimes, but there's some yummy stuff this year. I personally want to get those loaded latkes.
Yeah. Me too. That's up there.
Latkes are traditional Jewish potato pancakes, and they're topping them this time with smoked brisket and a dairy-free horseradish cream, because of course you can't mix meat and dairy.
No.
And so I want one of those, and I think I might have to get a mistletoe mule to wash it
Yes.
down.
Those are very good. I've had that one before. And then what my favorite always is the twist on the gray stuff. They do the
The holiday gray
Halloween
stuff.
version, the holiday version. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna find that one at Disneyland Park in the Red Rose Tavern. Um, Along with they've got a poinsettia cookie available at the Grand Californian Hotel. And I mean, we could spend another hour just talking about the merch.
Right.
This year's holiday bucket looks really fun. It's Woody and Buzz from Toy Story building a pyramid of blocks that say Happy Holidays with the classic Pixar ball on top and filled with popcorn inside.
Yes. Their popcorn buckets are always pretty epic. So,
Yep.
start saving your money. There's a Spirit jersey that also looks really cool. So,
Yep. Lots of stuff to look for. The information can all be found on the Disneyland.com website. And Brian is reminding us, don't forget about that giant gingerbread house in the Grand Californian. It's not, quite as long running a tradition as the one at the Grand Floridian in Walt Disney World, but it's just as creative and just as cool to see. So, yes, absolutely, don't miss that one.
yes. And it's just that lobby is beautiful. And then
Hmm.
also they have that little snack stand where they do the little
Hmm.
waffle cone shots,
Oh,
milk
yeah.
shot. Yeah, it is just some really good snacks there. And it's just beautiful.
All right, now you're making me hungry. I didn't have lunch
Sorry.
before we. Next up, Marvel Comics is joining with the Disney 100 Years of Wonder celebration to release some Disney 100 variant covers featuring the Fab Five as classic Marvel characters. And this is kind of fun. If you are a comic fan, comic collector, and you recognize some of the classic covers that they are recreating, you're going to want to start picking up issues of the Amazing Spider-Man when these are released early next year.
Yeah, this is really cute. I feel like these would be really cool to frame in your office. The
Yes.
artwork is beautiful.
Yeah. So if you're not watching the video version of this, they are recreating vintage covers from the Silver Age, or I don't know, maybe some of these are Bronze Age. I get my ages confused. But early introductions of the Avengers, classic early Fantastic Four cover, the origin of the Incredible Hulk, all of these covers redrawn, featuring we've got Goofy as the Incredible Hulk. We've got Mickey Mouse as Captain America. And you're going to find these variant covers on upcoming issues of The Amazing Spider-Man. The first one is Amazing Spider-Man number 17, and that is going to go on sale on January 11th.
Yes. So if you are a collector, you're going to want to start getting ready for it. Again, look these up because they really are beautiful works of art. And now I was like, I don't really care about this. But after looking more, I want to get them and frame them.
Yeah, and if you are a hardcore collector, you're going to want to put multiple copies of this on your pull list, because there are going to be both the standard version and also a black and white version of each one. So, yeah, you're going to have to stock up on multiples of these. Look for these on sale. Issue 17 on January 11th, issue 19 on February 8th, and issue 21 on March 8th. There's going to be 12 different variants total. And if you do not know where to go to find comics in your neighborhood, head over to comicshoplocator.com. Brian in the comments is asking the question, we all are, is there going to be a She-Hulk Megan Thee Stallion variant cover? I sure hope so. I sure hope so. We just watched a couple nights ago the finale of She-Hulk, and I gotta say, as someone who is personally very tired of every Marvel movie and television show ending with lots of purple explosions, I just loved that fourth wall breaking finale. It was perfect for me. So next up. Yes. I am excited about this one. Monsieur Paul's restaurant is reopening at Epcot. The fanciest restaurant in Epcot's France Pavilion is finally opening up on Tuesday, October 18th. And reservations are available now. This article that we posted back on October 13th. At that time, they did not have reservations or exact pricing, but I can share that with you right now.
Yes. I have been trying for a reservation a million times a day, and it's been very difficult because the experience is very long. So there's really only a limited number of seatings. And I believe the last seating is even like 7 or 7:30 based on the app. I guess they're trying to be safe until they figure out how long it's really going to take. Because remember, we thought Victoria and Albert's would be 3 hours and it was like 5 hours. So
yeah. So don't hate me, but as we were prepping to start today's episode, I picked up a reservation for 2 on December 15th. So I haven't. Yeah, I do have a wife, but if you want to arm wrestle her for
I will.
You might fight Genevieve. Maybe I can make it a table for 3. We'll see.
I keep checking. It's been hard.
Keep refreshing. But so since I was able to get that, I have a little bit of information for you folks that wasn't in the article. One, the price is $195 per person, plus tax and tip. So it is almost approaching Victoria and Albert's prices. Right. You're getting close. But it is a multi-course meal. It is an experience. The other thing is that their cancellation policy is a little different than anything else that I've seen. Usually it's $10 or $20 a person if you cancel, and you have to cancel 24 hours in advance. At Monsieur Paul, you must cancel your reservation by phone or email at least 72 hours in advance of your reservation.
That's not too
And
bad.
if you do not cancel 72 hours in advance, there is a $100 per person cancellation fee. So keep that in mind if you are booking this restaurant.
Right. But the menu looks so exciting.
Oh my
So
gosh.
don't cancel.
So yes, I have here the full menu has been posted. And we're going to talk through it really quick. The first is you get a starter of a glass of champagne um, and a cheese puff. That's sort of little amuse-bouche.
Yes.
And then we go into the appetizers, and we start out with your choice of a Maine lobster salad, a saffron mussel soup, or an escargot cassoulet. All of these, of course, have very fancy French names with pronunciations that I would completely butcher. So
Right.
I'm just jumping right to the English translations.
Yes.
Why don't you take the fish course?
Let's see. So I was very
Can you
excited.
sorry, I don't know if you
I'm
can
like,
read.
am I going blind?
Oh no, it's my fault. I should zoom out. I will read them off because so your fish course, you've got a choice of a sea bass in puff pastry, seared sea scallops with maple pumpkin velouté sauce. I can never pronounce that.
Ooh.
And snapper in potato scales with thyme sauce.
Okay, so that snapper sounds a little bit like flying fish.
Yes, very much like the
Yes.
old flying fish presentation.
Yes.
And then finally, you've got a meat course, a rack of lamb, a chicken fricassee with morel mushrooms and black truffles. Wow.
Ooh.
Or a center cut beef tenderloin
Yes,
with
please.
porcini. I think we know which one you're ordering.
And there's a Bordelais sauce, so that sounds amazing.
That's your pick.
Yes.
And finally, there's a cheese plate just to cleanse the palate. And your choice of dessert, a chocolate almond cake, a meringue with vanilla ice cream and raspberry sorbet, or a thin apple tart.
So you only get that one drink included for the price, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Ooh.
there may be, let's see, dinner. There is not a wine pairing menu, but I
Right.
would be very surprised if there was not an additional wine pairing option.
Yes, I was curious. I mean, this is launching in a day or two, so
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear
Well,
what
I'm sure there will be plenty of vloggers who are
Yes.
going to be there and will pick apart the food, possibly without actually eating it on opening day.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah. But hopefully, like I said, the soonest I could get in there was mid-December. But hopefully that will be worth the wait, and
So.
we'll talk about it. We'll see if you're in town that week. We'll see if we can squeeze you into the reservation.
Yes. Oh.
I would also say that there's at least a 50-50 chance I'm going to have to cancel this because
It's
I'm
too
going to
hard
have
to
to
plan that
convince
far.
my powers that be that that it's worth spending that much money.
Is
Uh,
there an AP or any sort of 10% off on this?
That is an excellent question. The old Tables in Wonderland has not
Oh,
returned, right?
that's never gonna return,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I keep
And
my card in my wallet as a memento and just a little bit of hopefulness, but I can't see that ever happening.
yeah, I did not in the fine print when I made my reservation, I did not see any mention of an annual pass discount, but I will certainly ask. That's
Right.
for sure.
You're correct. I'm on the app. There's no mention of an annual pass
Yeah.
discount, and there probably isn't.
Yeah. Well, Brian has an opinion. He wants to read your mashed article all about it.
Well, I'm trying to, if I can get my editors want me to write about it, but I'm not able to get in, so
Yeah.
I might have to go there and beg or something.
And next up, well, if we're talking about spending ridiculous money at Disney, we've got to talk about this.
Yeah.
Disney's Genie Plus prices have increased. Yeah, we knew it was coming. From when they first introduced Max Pass at Disneyland, and it was only like $15, I'm like, this is too good to be true. They are going to keep raising the price on this stuff until people stop buying it, or until something breaks, and that's where we're going. Starting on October 11th, prices for Genie Plus and also individual lightning lanes have increased at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World resorts, and they've switched to a demand-based system. So the price will change day by day depending on how busy it is.
Yeah, and this is just extra headache inducing because it's different on both coasts. It's different prices, it's different, ways you can go about purchasing. So at Disneyland, the only way that you can get it in advance is if you bundle it as an add-on when you purchase a ticket in advance. And in that case, it will be a flat fee of $25. So that means that if you're purchasing for a day and you get there and it's only like $20 a day, you don't get that money back. That's the only way to reserve it, which is interesting. I mean, there's no other way to go about it.
Yes. So you're kind of gambling that it could be 25 a day, it could be 20 a day, it can slide. We don't really know, we kind of know what the range is right now, but we don't know how far they're going to push this. At the moment, first of all, let's talk about Disneyland. Disneyland still allows you to pre-purchase this in advance. Walt Disney World has stopped allowing pre-purchase. If you purchase in advance, it's now 25. Before this, it was 20. In addition, if you are a Disneyland Magic Key holder, you're getting 20% off of that number.
Mhm.
So, woo. But as you mentioned, that 25 for pre-purchase is the same no matter what day of the year. But you're going to have the daily price if you're just buying it on the day. You're not going to be able to budget. You're not going to be able to plan exactly what it's going to cost for your family because that can change day by day. The only good thing about this is that Web Slingers is now going to be included in Genie Plus. So, Web Slingers, especially since it had single rider line, was not one that I would recommend spending individual Lightning Lane money on. And now you don't have to
No.
worry about that because it's just part of Genie
Yes.
Plus.
No. And then also, so this all went into effect already. And so at Disney World, there's now no way to pre-purchase it.
No,
So
they got rid of that, and
Yes.
and your bottom line is going to be $15, but I think there are going to be very few days where this is going to be $15. We've already seen a $22 day,
Yeah.
and they have not told us a cap. So it could go up to 25, it could go up to 30, it could go 35 or 40 during Christmas. Who knows? Who knows?
Right. Yeah, I've been checking it, and so like you said, I've seen 22. I saw 20 the other day. So we'll see. I'm sure this is all, a test for them as well to see, who's purchasing it at this price. Can they jack it up even more?
Yep.
We don't know.
And so all of the things we've been talking about up until now have applied to the Genie Plus, which is the bundle of Lightning Lanes. But there's a ride in each park that uses individual Lightning Lane, and those prices went up as well. When we first started this, it was as low as $7, and I think as high as like 14. Now we're talking $15 to $22 per person just for Rise of the Resistance at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And at Disneyland, you can pay up to $25 for one ride on Rise of the Resistance. Honestly, at Disneyland, wait times for that ride are not that bad.
No.
I'm a little confused because consistently the wait time is higher at Disney World than Disneyland for that. So I wonder why they charge less at Disney World.
Can we ever really make sense of it?
No, and it bounces all around. And the only thing that we can guarantee is that whatever is the ceiling today will be the floor tomorrow. Like if you think that's expensive now, wait another few months and it will be more.
Yeah, it's all very stressful. I mean, I'm sure you're like me where we get to go so often that we don't really purchase Genie Plus. Yeah, I personally don't really ever use it, but for the family that's coming in once a year, this is just another little piece of the puzzle that makes things complicated.
And we with touring plans, the company that I work with the unofficial guides, they did a lot of analysis when this first started, breaking down basically what you're spending per hour or per minute for Genie Plus and how much, it all comes down to how much is your time in the theme park worth. And a lot of that depends on what kind of a visitor you are. If you are a
Right.
annual pass holder, and each visit to the park is, basically costing you $10 or $20 because of the, spreading out the cost of your annual pass over a year, then Genie Plus is not maybe a good, efficient use of your money and time. If you're a once every 10-year visitor and you've sunk a lot of money into hotel rooms and tickets, and it's kind of getting to the point where if you don't purchase Genie Plus, you're gonna have a rough day.
Correct.
Purchasing Genie Plus does not guarantee you an easy day. You're basically, especially at Disney World, it's going to help you out on 2 or 3 big attractions, and anything beyond that is gravy.
Yeah,
But
it's just
those 2 or 3 big attractions can make the difference between having a day that you remember as being a good day in the park and having a day where all you remember is waiting in line.
right. Yeah. And I've been thinking about it so much, obviously, because we write about it and talk about it.
Mhm.
But everything that Disney is doing right now is catering to a specific clientele that spends. Why don't they offer a service like that? Like a universal express pass.
Mhm.
Disney's really trying to get this certain clientele that drops
Yeah.
money like nothing. $25 is really not a lot. Why don't they make a really premium product? Because people are
Uh
gonna spend that, I just can't figure it out.
Right now they do have that premium product, and it is called a VIP tour, and it is
Super
basically
premium.
you are hiring a living express pass.
Right.
A person who basically does nothing but walk around with you, wearing plaid and lets you into the lightning lane. If they had a package that was like, 10 lightning lanes to use anytime you want, you know,
Sort
costs
of
you
like
a
what
few $100s a day for a person, as opposed to, I mean, a VIP tour, there's a 7-hour minimum, and
right.
it's several $100s an hour. I have a family member who is coming down and wants to make sure that their family has a perfect trip, so they are hiring an independent tour guide who has no actual powers to backdoor them into anything, just to walk around with them for $250 an hour.
Oh, yeah,
People spend that kind of money, and if Disney offered something that was in between Genie
right.
Plus and Lightning Lane, but not as expensive as a VIP tour, split the difference. Sure, there'd be a lot of people who would be happy to purchase that.
And they already have the system in place at Disneyland Paris, so
Yeah.
please
Yes.
let us
And that
figure
Disneyland
something out.
Paris, I forget the name of it exactly, but it's basically like
Premier access.
Premier Access. Thank you.
Mhm.
And it's almost the same price as a day ticket. Like, you're basically doubling your admission cost, but
But
at least you're
it's convenient.
guaranteeing a certain number of expedited entrances to rides.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the issue with me I have with Genie Plus is it feels like I'm just throwing away a nominal amount of money, but
Mhm.
because it's not a lot compared to other services like Disneyland Paris, but it's a gamble because you don't really know what's gonna happen. So
Yeah.
now that makes me think, "Oh, $25, I can go out to lunch with a friend." I'd
Yeah.
rather maybe spend that than just throw
Yeah.
$25 at a wall and hope for something.
And, for me going as a single person to the park, $25 a day is okay.
Right,
But if you're a family and you've got 2 or 3 or 4 kids, that's a huge
right.
extra investment. I mean, we're talking the price of a hotel night, almost for each day that
Right.
you're using this.
And, your family wants to go on Haunted Mansion, and that's all they wanna do. You get it, and there's no times that work in with your schedule. You're not
Mhm.
going on it, and you just spent over $100. So,
Yeah.
hopefully, there'll be some sort of solution or I don't know.
I mean, selfishly, as someone who doesn't really purchase Genie Plus very often at
Same.
all. Not at Disney World, at least. If I'm at
Yeah.
Disneyland and I'm only at Disneyland for a couple days, I will purchase it. But at Disney World as an annual pass holder, no. Selfishly, I would like them to keep raising the price until people stop buying it. so that there are fewer people cutting ahead of me in the lightning lane, so that they don't have to do these ratios of 10 people from the lightning lane for every one person from the standby lane.
Right.
If it's basic economics. If they raise the price of this enough that people balk, then that actually becomes better for those of us who don't buy it. So keep raising the price. Go
Yes,
for it.
go for it. I mean,
Yeah.
so many thoughts.
Yeah, so many thoughts. Well, let's move on from Disney and
Oh,
talk a little bit about Universal. Universal's got something new and exclusive, but they aren't charging extra for it. It's
yeah.
just a secret. Yes, Universal Hollywood and Universal Orlando are teaming up with Coca-Cola to offer secret menus at both resorts, offering some unique, never before tasted beverages.
Yes, I thought this was kind of a really cool idea, and it came out of nowhere almost, you know?
Yeah, they've done these kind of collabs in the past. I
Yeah.
remember when Velocicoaster opened, they briefly had like
Mhm.
an island cooler, and Volcano Bay had an exclusive flavor for a while. But this is like a whole program of secret menus. And there's two kind of secret menus. One are ones that you have to go up to a restaurant counter and ask for them by
Mhm.
name at the counter. So you can't do these through a mobile order. You've got to know the secret code word to try these. Universal Hollywood has 3 of them, and we've got 4 of them in Universal Orlando. And I'm going to read them off, and I want to hear your yay or nay whether
Yes.
you would drink one of these. Okay, for Hollywood, we've got Hollywood Coconut Cream at the Hollywood and Dime, and it's Coke Zero plus coconut cream with a cherry. And
Yes.
they say it pairs well with chicken teriyaki. I like coconut, so yes,
Yes, that's a
I would
great
do
one.
that too. All right, number 2, Shake, Rattle, and Roll Orange Cream Float at Mel's Diner, Fanta Orange, vanilla soft serve ice cream, whipped cream, and a cherry.
Too much.
Yeah, and they advise they pair that with a hot chicken sandwich. So maybe all that dairy would like
Oh,
kind of cool down the hot
yes.
chicken, but yeah, that's a bit much for me. And prehistoric fizzy punch, passion fruit flavored Sprite, and cream topped with a cherry.
Ugh, no.
Mm, I don't know. It's the cream that gets me.
Right.
I don't need quite so much cream. All right, so over at Universal Orlando, we've got 4. All right, if you are a if you're a fan of fall beverages, they've got an autumn spice cooler at Hot Dog Hall of Fame that is original Coca-Cola mixed with cinnamon and tart cherry.
Yes, yes, yes. This
Yes,
sounds
yes.
really good. I don't really drink soda, but if I do, I'm going to the machine where you could put the little bit of cherry
Hmm.
into a Coke, and so now with this little cinnamon, that sounds awesome.
I was gonna say my wife is a huge cherry Coke fan. Anytime we're at a
Yes.
movie theater, gotta have cherry Coke and a little cinnamon. That sounds interesting. Next up, Pizza's BFF at Louis' Gelato Restaurant. It's a Coca-Cola Dream World float with vanilla ice cream and a layer of bright dragon fruit
Ooh,
syrup. And they advise that you eat that with a pepperoni slice.
I
Not
love
if you're
these
lactose
things.
intolerant, let me tell you. Not if you're lactose intolerant.
Hey, they get a lot of creativity points for making these pairings. This is really cool.
So, have you tried Coca-Cola Dream World yet? I have not had it.
I have not, but it's not because I haven't seen it, it's just because everyone says they don't like it, so why even go there?
Well, apparently it's pizza's BFF. So,
Yes.
over at Volcano Bay, they've got a Krakatoa fruit cooler, which is Fanta orange with pineapple, chipotle syrup, and
Yes.
basil. And oh my God, that sounds so good. And can I sneak a shot of rum in that,
Yes.
maybe?
I was just about to say, put some rum in that, that sounds amazing.
And finally, they've got a sparkler spritz at Cafe 4 that's Sprite lemon juice, hibiscus dragon fruit, and tart cherry syrup, topped with whipped cream and blue raspberry pop rocks.
Oh.
They almost had me, and then they had to go just a little too far. I
It's
don't
always the
know.
Pop Rocks that
The and I thought you couldn't mix Pop Rocks with soda or your head would explode like Mikey from the Life cereal
probably, yeah.
commercial. Am I the only one who grew up hearing that rumor?
For anyone that's just listening, you should pull up the article because the logos they created for each of these are really cool.
Yeah,
I
they're
almost
really
wish
great.
they had, like a sticker or something you got of the logo when you ordered it because they did a really nice job with this.
So okay, those are all of the sodas that you can sample at the beverage counter by asking them by name. But there's a whole nother layer of secret hidden menus in Coca-Cola freestyle machines. If you go now, all right, so it took me a little bit to figure this out because they said in the article that it was found in the app, and I was like, where in the app is this? So it's actually now I won't be able to find it again. If you open up the Universal Smartphone app, look in the main menu, and then go down under Special Offers, and then you have to swipe one to the right to find it. And it says Secret Menu, and then that has a link that says Learn More, and that takes you to a web page that's got all the prices. All of these beverages we've talked about so far cost $7 each. And then it's got a list of locations for freestyle machines. And this is going to tell you where you can go to unlock the secret freestyle menus.
Cool. And
So,
also, if you're using the Hollywood app,
mhm.
you go to their menu, but then you click special events.
See, they can't
And
even get a consistent.
right, right. So what this basically is telling me is that I'm gonna be waiting like 5 minutes behind
Ex-
someone at the
exactly,
freestyle
because the
machine.
freestyle machines do not have slow enough lines as is.
Right,
It's
and
a,
I always use it to get, a quick water, but it's never quick,
All
you
right.
know?
So here's what you're gonna do if you don't have access to the website, whatever I went out. Here's how you do it. Go up to the freestyle machine at the select locations where they have this. In the lower right hand corner, you'll see a new button that's like a little vault, a little gray vault in the bottom right. Tap that, and then they'll pop up a little blank square on the left hand side of the screen that says enter code. Draw with your finger a U shape, like just the letter U, and that will open up the secret menu. And each location has a different secret beverage. So you're gonna have to activate a freestyle cup and spend the whole day going around trying all of these. I think I might have to do that.
I think you should for science.
Yeah, for science, and then someone's going to need to give me an insulin shot afterwards because if you weren't diabetic before trying all of these different sodas, at least some of them are made with Coke Zero.
But the
So
syrups
I
are
don't.
not sugar-free.
Yeah, no, not at all, not at all. Yep. So if you are into cool secret beverages, Universal has got your back.
Yes.
All right. Next up, Busch Gardens in Tampa has announced a brand new ride, and it is going to be a record-setting Serengeti Flyer that is going to open in spring of 2023.
Ooh, I saw the picture and I got nauseous. I am not like a flat attraction spinner type of person. This looks death-defying.
So this is a scream and swing ride, and it's not just any scream and swing. It is 130 feet tall, world's tallest, world's fastest scream and swing ride.
Ooh.
I mean, basically picture your typical playground swing scaled up, ginormous. And there's it's basic physics. You're swinging forward, you're getting negative G's, you're swinging back. It's that moment of weightlessness at the end of the pendulum that people are into. And if you're not into it, these things
Yeah.
are terrifying.
Yeah, this is like I'll watch.
Yeah. So this is going to be located in the Serengeti Plain area of the park, which is a 65-acre area where they have animals and grassland, and you're going to get a great view of it for a brief moment if you don't have your eyes squeezed shut, because this thing is going to hit 68 miles an hour, and the maximum height, like I said, 135 feet at the peak. And the way this is set up is you've got 10 people sitting in 2 rows, and you're like back to back. So one person is swinging forward, the other person is swinging backwards,
Ooh.
across 2 gondolas, both swinging at the same time. So that lets 40 people ride at once. So that should give it a pretty good capacity for a cycle art ride. And I think I might have blipped out for a second,
You
or
did
you
for a
did.
second.
I
No,
did for a second. I'm back.
yes.
So this is going to open up next year at Busch Gardens, Tampa, and I think Carly is volunteering to be the first person on this, right?
I would do it once. And then immediately get a drink right after, but not before.
Well, yeah, and Brian points out that there was a little bit of playful back and forth on Twitter between Busch and Universal about this announcement.
Yes.
Oh, but we have someone in the comments who is vouching that you are not a fan of these rides.
No.
And don't ask you to ride the swings. All right, Adam. We'll take your advice.
I will gladly hold your belongings and sit and watch, but that's it.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the news in the queue. But before we get into this week's main attraction, let's hear from our sponsor.
The Attractions Podcast is brought to you by MEI and MouseFan Travel. Whether your next vacation is a magical trip to the theme parks, an exciting adventure to the pyramids of Egypt, or just a relaxing cruise on the turquoise waters of the Bahamas, MEI Travel provides premium service and expert advice to help you get the most of your vacation. They are always free of any hidden fees or costs to you. Visit them at mei-travel.com.
It's time for the main attraction!
And for this week's main attraction, Fantasmic is finally returning to Disney's Hollywood Studios in November. We don't have an exact date yet, but we've got some details about the show and the updates that we're going to see.
Yes, so don't worry, it's the same soundtrack, but there will be some new characters, new projections. So it's all good news. I mean, Disneyland's version, not going to lie, is better.
Oh, Disneyland's version will always be better, and we can definitely have a discussion with that. In fact, if you would like to debate that with our own Jeff DePauli, he has just put up an article on our website saying what he loves about each version. It's very even-handed. He points out there are some good things about the one in Disney World, namely seats.
Yes.
I like being able to have a bench instead of having to stand or sit on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Totally appreciate that. But we are going to see what kind of changes they've made when this show comes back on some unknown date in the month of November.
Right, which is like 2 weeks from now. November starts.
And we know they have been rehearsing it. I actually, the last time I was over at the park, I could hear some sound testing and some pyro testing. So there is definitely progress being made. I know people might have been worried that Hurricane Ian had wiped out the set, but it looks like they are on track to get this thing open. The biggest change that we know about in the show, other than technical updates, them putting in new lasers, new audio, new projectors, getting everything, up to current technical specs, the Pocahontas scene. Pocahontas has not been removed, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your point of view. There will still be Pocahontas, but the section that was all Pocahontas is now apparently also going to feature an appearance from the live action version of Mulan, as well as Elsa from Frozen, Aladdin, and Moana.
Those are exciting additions, big fans.
Yeah.
Kids will love it.
We also know that the film clips that you see in between the live action sequences have been updated, re-edited. Hopefully, they're higher resolution because the ones in Disneyland have been so much sharper than the ones we had here in Florida. And some new characters, some more modern movies will be referenced in those film clips as well. Our editor, our publisher, Matt, did an interview that you can find on our YouTube channel about the return of Fantasmic a few months back. So we did get confirmation that the Steamboat Willie, the steamship with all the characters, will return because that's a really beloved part of the show. I don't think you could have Fantasmic without that big character ship at the end, even though it's better in Disneyland.
Yes, confirmed.
Because it's the real river ship and not a tiny squished down version of it.
So what do you think park reservations are going to be like?
Oh yeah, don't even ask. I mean, the only I am curious to see what they do in terms of demand for this show.
Right.
You know, they even with park reservations, you know, 2 shows a night will easily fill up. And you know, I'm not sure if this will become a Genie Plus offering, if they will use maybe a virtual line system, or if we will just go back to the days where you had to line up an hour or so before Fantasmic if you wanted to have hopes of getting in.
That was not bad. You know, you can get a snack.
Yeah.
You have drinks, you know, you sit, you get your little bench, you send someone in your family.
Yeah.
It's not a terrible process.
I'm sure we will be hearing about dining packages, and I'm sure that when we do hear about them, they will be more expensive than the last time they had dining packages.
Yes.
So, but you know, I'm mostly happy that the cast members who make the show go on every night are getting back to work because you know it's a large number of performers involved in that show, and you know, I'm happy for more cast members back on the payroll.
Well, and also not to mention, it's now the end of 2022, and Hollywood Studios has been without any significant evening
Yes.
entertainment for a
Yeah.
little bit too long, I would say.
Yeah, and you know, they have a library of projection shows and fireworks shows that they could be doing. And you know, that little Disney animation pre-show video thing that they do on the Chinese theater is okay. I personally wish they would bring the Star Wars fireworks back.
So good, yeah.
But yeah, Fantasmic, that, you know, honestly, the park needs it because people slam the park in the morning to get their Slinky Dog and get their Rise of the Resistance. And by late afternoon, that park really empties out. So maybe this will help shift attendance later in the day.
Absolutely, yeah. Well,
Yep.
exciting all around. Oh, Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam. I love that.
Oh,
That's not coming back.
yes. And yeah, Brian points out that is not coming back this year. But if you, since we're being nostalgic for old Hollywood Studios entertainment, if you loved the old Osborne Lights, the next best thing, they had it previously over at Give Kids the World Village, and they did still keep some of those lights to dress up Give Kids the World, but that's going to be private this year. That's only for the families who need the village. This year they are moving that over to H2O,
Yes.
the island, the Margaritaville themed water park over near the Margaritaville Resort. So yeah, check out if you want an old-fashioned Streets of America kind of holiday walk-through light experience. That's where to go for it.
Oh, absolutely. And you have all those restaurants over there. You can make a whole little night out of it, and it's, you know, all for a good cause.
Yeah. So we ran over. We had a really short show last week, and we made up for it with a bonus-sized show this week. So I just want to thank all of you who have stuck here to the end to hear it from us. Before we go, I want to thank our sponsor again, MEI and MouseFan Travel. And I want to remind everyone to please give us a review on Apple Podcasts and a rating on Spotify. It really helps us get the word out. and spread the podcast to more listeners and viewers. If you want to find more coverage from us and Attractions Magazine on the interwebs, you can find me personally at the UG Series on Twitter, at the Unofficial Guides on Instagram, and at theunofficialguides.com, where you can pick up new copies of my Universal Orlando and Disneyland books. Carly, where can everyone find you?
Yes, so I am on Twitter at Carly Caramana and Instagram at Adventures by Carly. And this week I'm headed to Hershey Park for Dark Nights. So I will be posting a lot from that.
You know that is one of my favorite parks, so I cannot wait to talk to you all about their first ever haunt event. They've done family-friendly trick-or-treating before, but you are going to get to see the first Hershey haunted houses. That's really exciting. Well, of course, if you want more from the whole Attractions Magazine team, we are always at attractionsmagazine.com, at Attractions on Twitter, at Attractions Magazine on Instagram, youtube.com/Attractions Magazine, and at Attractions on TikTok. And until next week, we hope you folks stay safe, try something new, but most of all, have fun.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.